Rupert's Royal Roundup. Rupert, hello.
Morning, David.
Morning, happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Sounds like your Christmas day was a bundle of laughs with flying everywhere.
Well, do you know, I got up at 2:20 on Christmas Eve. Everything was going to plan. I left here, talkTV Towers. I got in the car. Everything was going to plan. I got home and thought, the house is really cold. But the thingy, I've got a thing called a Nest, which controls the boiler. It kept telling me it was 24, and I was like, it really isn't. Anyway, yeah, no heating.
Well, I hope talkTV Towers is nice and warm for you this morning. You're in your shirt sleeve order, so I assume it is.
Well, I am. I was told by Gabriella that I couldn't wear a Christmas waistcoat anymore.
Well, so she who must be obeyed. Well done.
That's right, that's right. How was Christmas?
Very good, thank you very much. Nice and well. Went racing on Boxing Day, Kempton, with my other hat on, which was fantastic. Really good racing. But I know you're going to be talking about football, but to get it to Royals, my team unfortunately suffered a humiliating defeat, i.e. At Aston Villa, but of course that is Prince William's team,
yes,
and George's team and Prince Louis's team, so their Boxing Day might have been slightly ruined by our rather indifferent performance on Boxing Day, with John Duran being sent off, and I'm sure I don't know whether Prince William was harumphing up the television for the injustice of that sending off. I'm sure.
I don't really know where to start. There's a lot of royal news around. Can I just ask you, first of all, about the King's speech? I had a message saying from someone saying they really didn't like the King's speech, that it didn't hit the right notes. Your thoughts?
I think it was safe, but obviously there was areas that might be perceived as controversial, when he was talking about the sort of come after the Southport riots and all that went on around that from all sides. But he did just go into, I suppose, in a safe venue, a different venue, obviously,
yeah,
to this chapel, non-denominational, but obviously paying tribute to all the doctors.
Are you all right? You might need a doctor.
The doctors and nurses. I've just got one of these winter colds, but I'm fighting through. You may not have any heating. I've just been battling.
Well, I mean, you know what you need is a little dram of whiskey.
Well, I've been doing that. Medicinal compound I've had a wee dram or two, but not already yet, David.
Oh, okay. It's a bit late for you. 9:12.
I would say though that it sort of felt like a 6 out of 10 King's speech. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I got the bit about the chapel. It was very personal, and his own cancer experience, and of course Kate's cancer experience and everything. I then thought it went a bit waffly.
Yeah, and I think this is the problem. Does he do something without sort of upsetting people? That's always the fine line. And also, I sort of the reflections. Is it resonating? You talk about politicians now, or young, maybe going for reform or wherever they're heading. Do the young, i.e. people probably 20-somethings and younger, care about the King's speech? Does it resonate? Does it have a place? Does it need to be revamped, looked at in the way he gets his message over at Christmas? No one's, I think, saying he shouldn't do something, but how this sort of has to be at 3 o'clock and all that sort of stuff. It's no longer a sort of must-view appointment. When we were young, or I was certainly young,
yeah, I agree.
We sort of stopped everything at 3 o'clock and then moved on afterwards. My older generations, they were all practically standing to attention when the national anthem came on and all that. I'm sure now, I'd be interesting to know what the viewing figures, they've been putting out what it was for Gavin and Stacey at 12 point whatever it was, how many people actually sat down and watched the King's speech at 3 o'clock across the various outlets. I'd be interested to know how, most families probably are saying we've got to stop everything for the King's speech. I'm sure some families will still do it, but I'm sure it's now an diminishing number.
Well, I can tell you 6.82 million watched.
Well, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, that's not bad.
No. I mean, I think, like my family, we were in the middle of it. We didn't eat till later, so we didn't watch, but I watched it later.
Well, and in a way I couldn't. I had to, obviously, I've watched it about 50 times for obvious reasons. But I didn't watch it at 3 o'clock because I was doing something else.
Well, quite.
But at 6.8, I suppose in the grand scheme of things, that's that's quite a punchy figure in the sort of modern TV sort of viewing habits.
Yeah.
You know, that's quite. So I suppose there's people still want to see it, but whether they come away with it at the end sort of energized and sort of feeling positive. But you've got to also remember he is recovering from cancer.
Well,
so
I think the other thing is he also has that very difficult line to tread, doesn't he? Because he's not allowed to be overtly political.
Yeah.
And so then how do you get that balance right? Can we let's talk about the Duke of Sussex. I'll be careful what I say there. The headline in the Telegraph: mental health firm that employs Duke of Sussex is branded a toxic train wreck.
Yeah, better help. Yeah, and that's not a good look for Prince Harry, because obviously they trumpet the fact that he's one of their sort of frontline sort of ambassadors and very important. Yet you would think that obviously internally within this organisation they've got some problems. Now, I don't know. Sometimes is it just a rogue person saying something that they're sort of unhappy with the way they've been treated? I don't know, but it's not a good look when Harry is trying to branch out and find how much is he actually doing for them. Is he just turning up, walking onto the stage, saying a few sort of bit of word salad and then walking off again?
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's obviously Better Help obviously is trying to prove that they're one of the great companies, I think, in this field, they would suggest. But obviously behind the scenes, all may not be quite so rosy in that Better Help garden.
No, well, quite. Now, you mentioned the football. Prince George taking part in the traditional royal festive football match with William. They were cheered by Kate, Louis, Charlotte. The match included Sandringham estate workers, nearby villagers as well.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's sort of maybe a traditional thing. Sounds a sort of throwback. Let's go and have a game with the football with the staff. You know, there's an element of that, I think.
With the subjects. You know, yeah.
But fair play. I mean, George, they both like their football.
Yeah.
So there's no reason. And George is now getting old enough that he can play. I imagine that there's no two-footed tackles on the two future kings. But it's all part of the Sandringham estate, I'm sure, what they do around Christmas time. And as I say, George and William are huge football fans in their own right, so I'm sure it's all part of the sort of Christmas festivities while they're away. But I have to say, when you read some of the comments about, oh, William made this hilarious quip, you know, when they're walking around these doing the meeting people, and I think, well, are we going to have an absolute rip-roaring comedy moment? And then you read what it was, and you think, oh, that just sounds fairly normal. It's just sort of chat, you know, but you're making them seem as if they're comedy gold, you know, when they're going around talking about a piece of chocolate. You know, Louis going to eat all the chocolates. Well, that's fairly normal conversation, but to describe it as hilarious, I think, is a little...
Now, what is going on? So there's a big story in the Daily Mail. Is Eleanor Erkserdijan Britain's newest royal? So this is the dating of Samuel Chatto, 28, to Eleanor. What's going on, Rupert?
Well, I mean, I suppose the interesting thing is she was allowed to stay at Sandringham when they're not married. Meghan Markle, I think, did. In the first, before they got married, she stayed in Sandringham. But obviously, look, we're getting, this is Princess Margaret's grandson, i.e. the Queen's sister's grandson. So, you know, royals, it's starting to get, you know, into second cousin territory now. But yes, they did invite the extended family, and yes, she is an artist, and her father and mother are both in the art industry, as is Samuel Chatto. So I think they've been going out for some time. So presumably within the family circles, it's all seen as a good thing. So you know, if there is going to be another member of the royal family, but I'm not sure it's going to be one we'll be reading. They'll be very much allowed to get on with their own life. They're not working royals, so it's basically, I suppose, a bit of good news for within the family circles.
Yes, and we do like a royal wedding. I do hope there'll be some sort of pomp and circumstance, Rupert. It's always an occasion for you to get out your morning suit.
Well, no, but I think this might be a bit watered down. I think it just will be one of a private wedding, so we may not be getting my morning suit out. I'll have to save that for Ascot this year. You will.
I hope I get invited to Ascot this year. I loved it last year. It was great fun.
Well, surely you're well connected, aren't you?
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
Well, Sorry, David. I've lost the phone.
Oh, by the way, what are you doing for New Year? Have you got plans?
No plans New Year's Eve. I'm probably going racing at Cheltenham on New Year's Day, and then I may be taking. I may not, as I say, be speaking to you for a couple of weeks due to the fact I might just need to let the air out of the balloon and have a bit of a break. So I'm going on holiday.
Well, some of us are going to be working New Year, Rupert. I'm doing New Year's Eve and New Year's Day breakfast.
Well, no one can fault your commitment to the cause, David.
Well, quite. Rupert, have a great New Year. Happy Christmas to you. Thanks ever so much. Rupert Bell there, our royal correspondent. And that was Rupert's Royal Roundup.
Rupert's Royal Roundup.